Good morning, everybody. What is up? Sorry for that reverb at the beginning, but we are here. Morning, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team in 2022 and 2021, reached out directly and indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. And we have Ryan. Ryan is here on a Sunday. Why are you here, Ryan?
A Sunday. Yes. Friday. Sunday?
Friday.
Now you got me thrown off. But good to see you. Yes, the kiddos have a PA day, so didn't have to do the walk to school. But for those that don't know me, my name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage their business is in, and then help them create a strategy to grow their companies exponentially. And I'm an entrepreneur myself. I do run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to people's houses or their offices, clean their cars on the spot without using water, and our plant-based eco-friendly cleaning supplies. I did want to make a shout out to Liquid Green Products. So Janet and Fred, they're the ones that we get our plant-based cleaning supplies from. Okay. So just want to give them a quick shout out.
Wonderful. So let's do some things, some homework before we get to the real work. So subscribe to the Dr. Vibe show on YouTube and hit the notification button. If you can, also follow the Dr. Vibe show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Also follow Ryan wherever he is on the social media channels. Also, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms or Epic Conversations that I host, please email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And also, if you have some time, join the Morning Vibe Discord group where we keep up the conversations. I got a number of articles to post up this week on that. And just a program alert coming up on this Monday show, Manifa Brooks. She is the co-founder and principal of Garabyte Consulting, and Garabyte Consulting works with companies to build programs and processes that protect personal data. So they work with everything from I think small and medium-sized businesses and entrepreneurs. And just an FYI, Manifa had 15 years doing data privacy for one of Canada's major telecommunications companies.
Solid. Hey, looking forward to that.
Yeah, so many of us do stuff online. Many of us do business online. So I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, plug into Monday's show where you can do live Q&A with Manifa, well, data privacy, security, all those things, because even up to recently, the Toronto Public Library database got hacked. So,
ouch. Whoa.
So I talked to her about that offline the other day and says, well, hackers look for cities and governments because a lot of times governments and cities don't invest as much as they should financially and resource-wise into their data privacy. So they look for those type of organizations because it seems that public like city and government don't spend as much money on those things as private corporations. But she'll even have suggestions, even if you're an individual home user, on data privacy tips. So what's been going on in the world of Ryan Knight?
Yeah, trying to keep on top of projects, but some, I would say, exciting news. There's the Kickstarter that the lady Yannick talked about when she came on with Help a Girl Out. So they're doing their social enterprise Kickstarter. So we've been posting about that. So definitely check out our LinkedIn. Also, this upcoming Sunday is the Holiday Hope event with Keep Wealth Melanated. So we've had Jodianne and Anisha on before talking about their store at Woodbine Mall. So they're actually doing an event at the JCA, the Jamaican Canadian Association, at their banquet hall on Era Road. So just a holiday kind of pop up and community fundraiser for one of the churches that's supporting the asylum seekers. So I have to check the exact name of the church, but we'll get that to you. But yeah, if you want to join us, ACBN will be there with our booth to let people know about what we do.
Excellent. And for people that are watching, Ryan is experiencing a little bit of a delay, like on his audio. Like we can hear you and see you clearly, but when you're speaking, there's a little bit of a delay when it comes to. But that's all right. You're there. That's the most important thing. So want to shout out to some people. Morning, Marlon Steven. Morning, Tim Frey. Morning, Fitness IQ Cam, who's one of your partners in your food journey or your dieting journey,
Yes.
otherwise known as KSEYL RWFQ. So yeah, so how is the the food journey going, Ryan?
I've been doing better than I thought. I thought I'd be, gone straight back to my oxtail. And after Carolyn told me grapes are somewhat off limits, but the fruits in the morning and for breakfast and for lunch, definitely keeping with that. Evening, I did crack and have oxtail. So a friend of mine, we were working together, and he's like, "Oh, I need to experience a good Jamaican restaurant." So we went to Gems in Brampton, and they have just bomb oxtail. So as soon as I smelt it coming from the back, I was like, "All right, I break." So yes, I have had oxtail since, but still morning and lunch, I'm doing pretty good with the plants. And in between snacks with just like what's it called? Trail mix and water. Yeah. So I had my trip to Bulk Barn.
Have the water, man. Have the water. Yes. Water is the key. Oh, we had someone jumping in. Eunice Graham. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It sounds like you've had a quite positive, productive week. Correct?
Yeah. And then what else was happening? Oh man, this week has been a blur. So we did the info session about all the funding that's available right now. So we actually did it in person. So we were in Brampton at the Empowered Forex Brampton office, and being able to let people know about these grants that are out there, like Digital Main Street, also the Desjardins grant, which is $20,000 to support small business as long as you've been in business for over a year. And next week, we're going to be working on those grants in working groups. So Tuesday, we're going to be in Brampton, and Thursday, we're going to be in Whitby. So if you're interested in these grants, we are also tracking to see who actually applies. So we want to see 100 Black-owned businesses apply for this grant, the Desjardins one. And then we're going to track your progress. So making sure that you get your application in, and then also checking to see if you actually get approved so that we can use that data and say like, hey, what are the numbers when our people are applying for these grants? Because the TELUS grant that just passed, there was very minimal, if any. I didn't actually see any Black businesses get funding. So we want to keep track of these things. Yes.
You're kidding. I'd be very curious.
I hope they can prove me wrong and show us who got it, but I don't think any Black businesses got it.
Wow.
Yes.
It's and want to shout out. Good morning, Ched C. Hope you're doing all right. I think I believe that the biggest challenge for Black businesses to move forward, there's a number of them, but one of the biggest ones is a lot of people is not racism, it's access to capital.
It's a big issue. Yes.
It's a really because again, you see a lot. It's interesting when you see, let's put it as non-melanated organization startups get money and they fail. and I can't remember the lady's name, Elizabeth. Can't remember her last name. She had a startup, some sort of pharmaceutical drug, and it was a farce. It was a farce, and
Oh,
now
right.
she is now going to prison.
Yes.
I don't remember the name of the company or name completely. I'm going, wow, she was able to dupe large amounts of people, and then you get a number of hardworking Black individuals can't even get a knock at the door. But the
Look at
go ahead.
the founder of WeWork,
Oh yeah,
Sam Goodman.
oh yes,
No, Adam
yeah,
Newman.
gone. Yeah, considering bankruptcy. Yes. Now,
Billion
Marlon,
dollar farce.
thank you, Marlon. Elizabeth
Yes.
Holmes. If anyone wants to read a story that will just shake your head, put doing your whatever web browser you use, put Elizabeth Holmes and see that story. I think there
Yeah.
was also a Netflix documentary done on that, I believe.
And
I believe.
they went on When We Work too. Both of those
Yeah.
stories. But with the Adam Newman, he now raised another 200 million. Yeah, 200 million for his next project. They can do all this colossal waste and fraud, yet we have to be totally like,
Begging.
yeah, but spick and spans perfect with every project that we do, or it blanket statements the whole community once something goes wrong.
Yeah. So again, Marlon again, Theranos. Yes. So
Theranos, man.
yes. So put for people who want to read a very interesting story,
Mm.
and say, hey, would a Black person get this opportunity that she got?
There's another one with a gentleman that was creating an electric truck, and
Oh,
total lie. Like the truck did not exist, but they raised billions of dollars. GM, I think, invested into it. Total
wow.
farce, and billions of dollars lost and gone. Yeah, it's wild when you see how these frauds can get away with stuff.
So just as Ray is getting ready to come on here, just want to ask. So did TELUS publish the people that received grants?
They typically do, and I know that because I received it in 2021.
Right.
So on the site they'll show the winners. So when we were looking through, 2023 was very sparse. I actually couldn't find any Black entrepreneurs that got funding, and we know that because we do our info sessions, we do our working groups, so we know a good amount did apply. But I didn't like track and actually ask people and follow up. So that's where this time we're making sure that we track. We have our spreadsheet of 100 businesses. We want to make sure that see if they get it.
Here's an idea, and I don't know if we want to pursue or not. So you're pretty sure that no Black organizations got.
And hey, I'll confirm it tonight.
Please.
I'll go right through the pages again. Yes.
Okay, and what I'd love us to do is we should reach out to whoever's in charge of that at TELUS and say, how come?
Valid. Yes, we should.
How come? Because but you see, and we've already brought up some people in the now it's the office of Tim Frey. In all fairness, most of our nano Black businesses are not ready for investment. What are your thoughts on that comment?
Two things. One, it's amazing that like white businesses can create a fake business and get investment, whereas a small Black business that is actually operating can't. But in all fairness, that's where your business does have to be investable. So they're able to create a facade sometimes and create a fake company with all the right things on paper to get billions of dollars or millions of dollars that is wasted on a lie. But us as Black people, we do have to structure our businesses properly, grow it. We did see when we did our research project, the labor market assessment, only I think it was 86% had less than 5 employees. So 100% we're running a lot of nano businesses, and we have to structure ourselves properly to actually be investable. But there needs to be investment to develop companies as well. If we look at the Black venture capital startups that are trying to now raise that type of capital to invest patient capital into Black businesses so that they can grow and develop, that's been a challenge. So when we look at the disparity between money flowing through the Black community, there's bottlenecks at every single turn. So it makes it difficult to even develop the community, the business community. But on both sides, we have to improve our investability, and we have to develop more opportunities for investment. And it's looking like we have to do it ourselves on both sides.
Okay, Eunice Graham says another issue is, are they applying? That's why it's important to have platforms like yours to inform people about these opportunities. So are they applying, Ryan, from your lens?
100% they're applying. I can't, and that's where I dropped the ball with the TELUS one, because we didn't track and follow up who exactly applied. So we'll do our info sessions, 20 to 30 people might come on. We'll do our working group, say we're working with 10 people. So we don't know exactly how many applied. And again, this is across Canada. So across Canada, we're not tracking how many people did apply. So to see nobody get it so far, you could be right, Eunice. Maybe only 10 of us, the 10 that came to our workshop, applied. So 10 in the grand scheme of things is not a lot. But now we want to track 100. So I'm sure Desjardins will get 1,000 applications. 10%, we want to actually track 100 applications going in and seeing if they're successful.
Good stuff. So people, Ray McMillan is scheduled to be on. He's having some technical challenges. So as usual, we always have things to converse about. So let's keep it driving home about this. So Fitnance IQ Camp says, interesting. Ched C says, best way to do is to partner or collaborate. So, and I agree with that. And so I'm going to put it out there, people. Do you want, and depends what our timelines are, do you want Ryan and I to put an application in for Desjardins and we track that to see if we can get funding for this?
Hey, valid. Your business over a year.
So would you, now it depends if Ryan and I, we have to talk offline about this, but, and just out of curiosity, Ryan and I would collaborate on getting funding for the Morning Vibe project. Would you like us to do that? And let's see what our personal experience, and we can be frontline and center on it and see what they have to say. What are the audience's thoughts on that? And this is for people watching live or watching the replay, putting in the comments section. Mm-hmm. So Ryan, would you be interested in doing something like that? We have some fun with that.
Yeah, 100%. And love to track that journey.
Yeah, like to see, and then we'll see how we're treated and the results, because you have my platform and Ryan's platform. We're going to collaborate together and see what they have to say, see if they even answer to us.
Right.
But you know what? There'd be a method my madness on how we do this. So I just want us to reach out to you and say, hey, would you like us to do this? I'm thinking about doing it. I don't know if Ryan wants to do it, but also we'd like to see what the audience has to say about that. So definitely. Yes, okay. So we'll talk about it offline, but we'd like to get your feedback on it. Because I said, I'm not a big grants person, but because I don't like to do it on myself, because that's not my expertise.
Okay.
But yes. I say, Gala King is beside me and he knows the ins and outs. I'd like to see what happens with that, and let's see what happens. I'm more a person of sponsorship than the grant thing, but that's a whole other conversation. Good morning.
That's another conversation for Desjardins too. I've seen them sponsoring stuff. You should reach out and get your package to them and tell us, right? Yes.
All right. So Opal says, go for it. Open Spire. What's up? Ched C says, great idea, because otherwise they will use privacy as a reason not to provide information, not to reveal the true data. Interesting.
Because you won't be able to ask why any of them got declined, right? But
so then we can, so we can share how they treated us because we applied. I like that idea. All right. So Ray looks like he's ready to go, but what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick little break. And so Ray can get ready to make things happen. And you're watching the Morning Vibe on November 17th. There were some good detailing night days over the last 2 days, by the way.
Yes, definitely not complaining. And tomorrow looks nice too. Well, today was nice, but it's raining. But yeah.
Yeah, so definitely. And Fitness IQ Camp says how to get the sponsorship deals. Well, I don't know. You know how to do those Fitness IQ Camp. You know how to do all that stuff. Okay, we'll be back in 90 seconds, and we'll be back on the Morning Vibe. Hold tight, and we will have Ray McMillan with us. Hold tight.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harry Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm one of the Harry Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the just people that don't always represent the best of us. The diversity. Like people like Dr. Vibe. Like everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
Really
Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. A lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
Nice.
Well, you know what? The line that Dr. Vibe used for me, I use this for this gentleman who's going to join us. Like, you got to listen to the intelligent people.
Right.
And when we think about intelligent people, one of them is Raymond McMillan. Good morning, Ray. How are you?
Morning, gentlemen. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
That's a lot of pressure, Dr. Vibe.
Pardon me?
I'm constantly in learning mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but hey, you learn and share, so we all benefit. Good stuff. How's the family this morning?
Everybody.
Good.
It's quite a mild morning, actually.
Yes. Well, the temperature's supposed to dip, but we'll take what we can get. So before we jump on here with Ray, okay, so there's a topic here, another discussion. If Ray is still not there, Randy Reed and Paul Mastermind Heart. Oh, so Mastermind joined Flows 98.7. Okay.
Was that an afternoon show, evening show, or morning show? Is that they do a morning show?
Have no idea. That I didn't know about that. But if you can up to date, give us some more detail, Tim, because it's Ray McMillan time. So Ray McMillan is wanting to chat with us today, and I think is a very important topic for many of us. How to navigate mortgage renewals in an environment of rapidly rising interest rates. So Ray, lead us through, and we'll also do some broadcasting on Instagram. So Ray, start the conversation off for us.
I mean, we've seen the whole in the news for the last year or 6 months. We've seen basically two things in the news almost every day, daily. One is rising interest rates. The other is inflation, and the other is mortgage renewals. The whole large cohort of mortgages that are coming due in the very near future. Apparently, there are about 2.2 million mortgages that are coming due in the next 2 years.
Wow.
And many people are concerned that when those mortgages come due, the payments will increase significantly. And for anyone who has a mortgage and don't do regular mortgage consultations with a mortgage professional, I suggest they start doing it. Too many people are winging it through the mortgage process. They buy a home or they buy an investment property. There is no real careful and concise mortgage plan in place. And those are the folks we want to see who are going to end up in problems when these rates go up by 2 or 3% at renewal. So let's step back for a second. There are two types of mortgage products out there. There's fixed rate mortgage products, which is a fixed rate for the entire term, 6 months to 10 years. You sign a contract at 2% or 4%, and for the entire term of your mortgage, the rate never changes. It never changes. And then there's the, which is tied to the central bank rates and the prime lending rate, and that rate fluctuates every time the prime rate changes. And many people in their conversations, as I listen to people, are confusing the two things, or they don't know the difference between the two. So I'm hearing people quoting rates that rates are now 7%, which is not really accurate if you're a prime client. So it's important to understand the difference between the two things. It's important to understand what product you have and what your options are when it comes to renewal, or even before renewal. So the variable rate mortgage, that mortgage has what's called a conversion or convertible clause in it. What that means that you can convert your mortgage at a fixed rate anytime during the variable rate term to a term that is equal or longer to your current term. In simple English, you've got a 5-year VRM mortgage, right? You're 3 years in. You enjoyed a very nice rate for the first 3 years. Rates start to go up. Fixed rates are still reasonable. If you're concerned that you may find your payments going up and your monthly costs increasing, you lock it in for 2 years or longer. Mm-hmm. And it's important for a mortgage holder, for a borrower to understand that process, right? So if in the last year we've seen rates start to go up, so by the third rate increase, if you haven't sat down with a mortgage professional or your banking advisor, then you've been negligent. You shouldn't have been caught in this situation. Those who are in a fixed rate product, it's a little more challenging because you're now torn. You know, I've got a 2.1 on my 5-year fix. It matures next year, October. Rates are increasing. Do I early renew, or do I stay where I am at my 2.15, paying $300 a month, my $300,000 mortgage, and hope that next year, October, when rates renew, you know, rates will have come back down again. Now, there's no crystal ball of the rates. We don't know how long it's going to remain this way. It can change in 6 months. It might take us 2 or 3 years to recover. So sitting down with someone, personal circumstances, your personal budget, and determine if I early renew and do what is called a blend and extend, and blend my current remaining 11 months of my current mortgage with a new mortgage at a current rate, what does the cash flow look like? So when you go to see a mortgage professional, it's not just about the mortgage product you have to talk about. You have to look at your overall financial circumstances, the entire picture. Because while asset appreciation is great, the most important thing is going to get you to day 1 to day 2 is cash flow. Cash flow is the most important thing in today's world. Right. And if you're running in the red every single month, then how do you change it? That's what's the most important thing today. So before we get into what our options are, is understanding the process and making that appointment with either your bank or your mortgage advisor.
No problem. So, Ray, so you and I would just want to catch what you said there. If no one has made a visit to their mortgage advisor over the last year, would you say that's a red flag?
I didn't hear that question, Dr. Guy.
No, I'm just saying, are you saying if many people, if they haven't made an appointment with their mortgage advisor over the past year, that's a red flag?
It's not a red flag. I mean, you meet with you should meet with all your advisors at least twice a year. Right? I mean, you go to your doctor at least twice a year. You go to your dentist at least twice a year. Right. You have a financial advisor who's managing your RSP portfolio. You do it at least twice a year. You get semi-annual statements. Most people don't go back to a mortgage professional until they need to borrow more money. And usually they already plan how they're going to spend the money before they sit down and speak to somebody who can walk them through the mortgage process. When a client comes into most mortgage professionals, they've already got a fixed idea in their head. And it isn't always attainable. So it's important for us to plan the process because there's a series of products and processes that can make your life easy during the whole mortgage process.
What you mentioned, switching from the variable to fixed. Are there any cancellation fees with that if you're trying to lock it in?
I
Oh,
think
did I cut out?
no, you're fine. I think it's
Oh,
on Ray's end. It's on
oh,
Ray.
gotcha.
Yeah, I think it's on Ray's end. So just apologies. It looks like we're having some technical challenges on Ray's and he's frozen with us right now. So people hold tight. Hopefully Ray will be back with us. Yeah, he's gonna go out and come back in. So yeah, we're talking about the mortgage rate stuff, and it ain't over yet, family. It ain't over. But just, and I think he was probably quoting Canadian statistics that over the next year, 2.2 million mortgages are going to come up for renewal.
Right.
That's
We're already seeing,
crazy.
like, because the interest rates have gone up, they were nice and lovely 2 years ago, even 3 years ago, at a low percentage, and now people's payments might double or triple. I've seen a couple double just from having to renew recently.
Wow. Ray, are you back with us? Okay.
Oh, there might be a bit of a delay.
Yeah, there's a little delay.
I think the video's working now.
The video's working. It's just if it's the audio. No, it's not. It's not there yet. It's not there yet. Okay, we'll take him back. We'll keep him when I see he's looking good and okay in the green room. We'll make that happen. So, I don't know a lot about this stuff. So again, that's why Ray comes on because he's a guru when it comes up. But I think that the whole housing. Oh, okay. Okay, no, okay. We're gonna pull. He's probably doing something, so we're gonna pull him off. Okay, so we're gonna pull him back off. Yeah, and the housing economy is such an important part of the whole economy. Good morning, Brandon. Hey, what is up?
Whoa,
What is up?
Black Daddy's Club.
Black Daddy's Club. Actually, I saw Brandon this week at LA Wade had the premiere of her film.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, she had a full house. Don't
Yes,
remember the name of the cinema down on College Street, but it was like over 350 people there to watch the premiere.
Yes.
So I saw Brandon Hay there, saw a gentleman who runs a men's Iron Sharpened Troy Crossfield, saw him there. Who else did I see there? I saw Dave Rankin, longtime Afro House beat DJ there. Ran into some people I hadn't seen in years.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it was a good get together reunion, but it was a great congratulations to LA Wade, and I think the next step is to do the film. What's not the
Like the circuits?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the circuit next. Oh wow, from the left coast, Tommy's Jerk. What?
All right.
Tommy's Jerk all the way out in, I believe, Vancouver, Victoria. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tommy's Jerk. Good morning, because it is 6:33 in the morning. But I know you're all day hustling, so that's not a surprise. But if people go follow Tommy's Jerk, definitely on Instagram. Doesn't matter where you live, just follow him.
Okay, nice.
Just follow him. Just follow him.
And one thing that I definitely wanted to ask Ray, because with the mortgage renewals, we've been talking to people, and I've noticed banks and funders now, or lenders, they're like really scrutinizing people's past history. So before, the renewal process used to be, hey, do you want to renew? And it'd be automatic. Now they're checking. So a friend of mine, he had like 2 late payments, but before it would renew. Now they're like, oh, we noticed that there's a late payment here, and like everything's being scrutinized. They want like all his bank records, everything. So when people are looking at renewals, don't think it's just going to be a smooth process anymore. Hopefully for some it will, but because those interest rates have changed, I feel like, and they're tightening their lending practices.
Yes. Okay. So, Grant Hanson official, good morning. We're just waiting for Ray. Okay, I think we've got Ray back now. Okay, Ray. Okay, Ray, can you hear us?
Check.
Yeah, I'm here. My apologies,
Okay.
folks.
No problem. You're worth the wait.
Canada, man.
No problem. You're worth the wait. Okay. So while you
My
were off,
apologies to the audience.
no problem.
Yeah.
While you were off, I think Ryan, you had a question for Ray, so go for it.
Yeah, just talking about that whole renewal process, talking with some friends of mine, I've seen that now the lenders are being way more strict and like doing heavier due diligence, seeing maybe there was one late payment in the past, even though things have been great for 5, 10, 15 years. Now they're really scrutinizing like everything in their bank statements. So I'm curious if you're seeing that kind of heavy due diligence, and what can people do to really protect against that?
Well, I mean, you have to go back to the fact that a lot of people have kind of a lot of personal debt, unsecured debt. So in the past, your renewal is automatic, but I mean, you're seeing people carrying $80,000, $100,000 a day worth of unsecured revolving credit card and line of credit debt. So the lenders have an obligation to their shareholders to make sure their loan portfolio doesn't incur losses. So yes, you will see a higher level of due diligence. So it's up to the consumer to understand that process and prepare for it. I mean, 10 years ago, mortgage didn't show your credit report, right?
Oh,
So if you missed a mortgage payment, nobody knew. So I mean, if I had clients who were in crisis, we're trying to navigate the credit, I would tell them to not pay their mortgage and pay their credit card, because the credit cards impacted your credit score. So I said, ignore the mortgage, right? You can miss 2 or 3 payments. Let's pay the credit cards, and then we will renegotiate your mortgage for you, but your credit score is still in the 700s.
yes.
A few years ago, the banks, the Equifax and TransUnion started to report mortgages on your credit profile. So now, if you are carrying a lot of personal debt, and you've got, your mortgage payments are you challenge your mortgage payments, you're screwed, right?
Whoa.
So the banks want the best clients. There are several alternative non-bank mortgage companies. There are several alternative lenders, and then there's several mix out there. So the amount of lenders in today's landscape are probably 10 times as much as they were 10 years ago. And the five or six big banks, including National Bank, they don't want anybody who can potentially become a loan loss.
Right.
The RBCs and the Scotia banks, they don't want loan losses. So they will know. And if you have commissioned income, or you have a consulting business on the side to use to qualify for your mortgage, because you need that extra income to get up to your debt servicing, they're going to request that information from you for your renewal. And there's a very high probability that they won't renew your mortgage. But let's put it on perspective. I mean, there's a lot of paranoia out there how people are going to lose their homes and that is not true, right? Mortgage payments are going to go up by probably $400 to $600 a month on the average $400,000 mortgage, right? It's not actually going to go by $2,000 a month. That figure is not accurate. I don't know where those numbers are coming from. The second is, if you bought a house 5 years ago, you'd have paid the average home price in most of Ontario was around $600,000. That home today, the average value is around $850,000. So you are sitting on $250,000 worth of equity. And that's why when I started the conversation, I said it's important to sit down with a mortgage advisor and figure out how to navigate this little bump in the road. It is a bump. It may last a year, it may last 3 years, but it's not the first thing that's happened. The challenge today is that the media is much more prolific. Everybody is sharing opinions on every single platform, which didn't exist 10 years ago. In 2008, there was no Instagram.
Right.
People have YouTube channels as much as they have today. So the crisis was only reserved to the industry professionals. It was much more than today. Right? I was in the industry. I saw half my clients lost their deposits on new homes they bought. That's not happening today. Right? what is happening is folks who have equity to buy multiple homes without having cash flow positive tenants, those are the ones being impacted, right? Because everybody got caught up in this rapid appreciation in real estate and they got impacted. But let's step back. So if you bought a house 5 years ago, sorry, at 605, and you're up to 850 today, right? You can now take your mortgage and renegotiate it to extend the amortization. And if you're carrying additional debt over and above your mortgage and a car payment, you can now retire that debt to get in your home. So you may find yourself in a much better position than if you just renew your mortgage. And that's where I keep using the term over and over, mortgage planning. You have to plan, right? We had a client who was here with us a few days ago. They've got a 2.15% mortgage with a major bank. It matures in, I think, 6 months. They've got $140,000 in personal debt. They're both self-employed. They're dying, right? House is worth about 1.6 million. The total debt against us is like $5,000, including all of their liabilities. They are so fixated on this 2.15% that it was difficult for them to understand that by refinancing their mortgage to a 5% interest rate, it's going to save them almost $1,500 a month. But they're consumed with this interest rate.
Yeah.
And I always tell clients when they come to our office, we don't discuss interest rates. We discuss solutions. Right? They've got half their debt is averaging around 14%, but their mortgage is 2%. So by taking all their debt together and reconsolidating it, we're actually saving them about 3 or 4% in interest every single month. But all they can understand is that I'm going to be leaving this big bank that I'm so in love with, and I'm going into an alternative lending space that is going to traumatize me. But I'm saving you $1,500 a month. And this one's in my office crying with emotion. I mean, I'm talking real tears. We had to be on the Kleenex because she wants to keep her. Sorry, I'm the name of the bank. She wants to keep her bank mortgage, and that is most clients today.
And a bank that's not doing anything for them.
One-sided love affair with major banks who don't do anything for them. Nothing for them, Ryan. Right. So when you go into a mortgage professional, if you were finding yourself in a crisis with your payments, then bring in all of your expenses. I know what you said, I don't care what your car insurance is, because I'm going to work through the budget with you, and I'm going to find space for you to maintain your lifestyle and ignore the fact that your mortgage is going to go from $3,000 a month to $4,000 a month. It's not the end of the world if I can get rid of all the other debt for you. Now, when you buy a home with 5% down, first of all, you got a 25-year app. If you've gone from 605 in purchase price to 850 in value, you can now go from a high ratio 25-year amortization, to a 30-year amortization. So you now stretch out the time. So 5 years ago, fast forward today, you're down to 20 years in your amortization. You knew you were going to get on your mortgage is now based on a 20-year amortization. I'm going to push you back out to 30 years, drop your payments, pay off your $4,000 in credit card debt, because every homeowner who bought in the last 5 years is carrying a lot of credit card debt.
Right.
Because most people bought at the top of their affordability. I'm going to pay off your credit card debt, and I'm going to keep your payments probably exactly the same as where they were 5 years ago. But it's a different mortgage product. So get your head around that. That's what you have to do. You cannot have this emotional attachment to the lender, because your alternative is to sell your home and downsize. And most people would never want to do that. That's the alternative.
That's the real tears.
So you have to step back from all the media noise. Yeah, step back from the media noise and figure out, okay, what is going to work best for me?
Yeah.
Not necessarily a straightforward mortgage renewal. Let's go now and replan my entire mortgage based on what my life journey is.
Okay. So let's just catch up as we've got a lot of comments to catch up on. We're broadcasting some of this on Instagram. So want to say hello to some other people. Ted. Well, Ted's on YouTube, so that's good. So, Ann in the City, good morning. The real Greg Walker, what is up, my brother? Yes, things are good, real Greg Walker. Go follow the real Greg Walker on Instagram. Powerful, powerful individual. Chef Brashear, good morning. I got to get out to to Black Creek Farm before the snow falls, so I have to do that big time. So let's go back to the comments on the live here. Let's catch up here. The Naked Property with Osai. Good morning. Hope you and the family are fine. She says it's like 2008 on steroids.
Oh boy.
Ted E. Evans says good morning, everyone. Ted was watching on Instagram, but he's jumped over to YouTube.
Hey,
Thank
good to
you.
see you.
It also says no lies told, Ray. He also says, yeah, there will be some individuals that can't absorb the increased rates because their payments will double. Yes.
Okay.
Also, he says, secondly, there are a handful of people that purchased homes 2 years ago and now coming up close that can't be approved for a mortgage now because the rates have doubled. Yep. What else? He also says, Ray, I agree. That's why we need to stay focused on cash flow and solution that we can provide. Fitness IQ Cam says, agreed, Ted. And also, I forgot to shout her out. Where is she? Okay. Wayne Harris says, good morning, gentlemen. Ray, you're my fashion idol. Looking sharp.
Yes, as always.
Tim Frey, yes. Randy Reed as Operations and Business Development Manager and Mastermind Pahar as Program Director for 98.7.
So like in the office. Okay.
Yes. And then Dr. Tachi says, good morning. Good morning, Dr. Tachi, hosts and driving force behind Mediascope, livest online show about media, tech, and pop culture on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Instagram, and then 6 p.m. on Eastern Time on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitch and other platforms. And Indie Soup Media is coming. And if you follow the Dr. Vibe show on any platform, had Dr. Tachi and Dr. Alicia on, I think was it Tuesday night? Tuesday night, they were both on together talking about should we pay attention to celebrity relationships. And then last Sunday, they were on Dr. Alicia's platform, Fly Nuvi and Queen, talking about hip hop from a Black women professor's lens, the state of hip hop.
Okay.
We are all caught up. All right, I'm going to end the conversation on Instagram. So if anyone on Instagram, if you're watching live on the replay, if you want to catch a full conversation, go over the Dr. Vibe show on YouTube. And remember to give yourselves grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Okay, that's called the big catch up. So had a lot of messages to catch up on. Ryan, do you have any more questions for Ray? Or Ray, do you want to continue onward?
Well, my main
let me hear Ryan's questions if he has any.
Yeah, so as a person that is new into this owning a home space, so our renewal is not coming up too soon, but it's like I'm thinking about it. So you mentioned like checking in with your mortgage advisor to say like what strategy should we be doing as renewals are coming up or checking our current status. So what information do we typically need to bring you to say like, hey, we're not renewing this year, but we want to keep on top of things. What kind of conversations would we be having before the renewal dates?
The first thing is your income. Right? What is your current income? Because people's incomes change, right? Either up or down. So if it goes down, then we got a serious problem in the environment. If it goes up, then it's enough. Next thing is your credit report. You bring me a copy of your credit report with your credit score. But we don't want to pull a credit inquiry for you unnecessarily. If the credit scores on the border, just on that 680 point, and we pull it too frequently, it can drop. And that makes your options limited. So you want to do your credit inquiry yourself, bring it into the more professional. The next thing you want to do is give us an idea what the property is worth. You don't do an appraisal, but if you live in a neighborhood, there's activity. So you can say, the last house sold for 1.2 million. It has a fully finished basement, a 3-car garage. Mine is a 2-car garage, no basement. Then mine may be worth 1.05 million. So we have an idea what the home is worth. and then your property tax bill. Because, you know, with new construction, for example, your first property tax bill may be significantly lower than when the reassessment kicks in. So when you buy a new home, particularly in Durham region, you know, it's a 45-foot frontage, your first tax bill may be $4,000 a year. And then a year and a half in, when the real assessment kicks in, it may jump to $6,000 or $7,000. And that number is important because part of the qualification. Now, what is also important is that lenders offer all kinds of sweet deals throughout the year. Even in an environment of rising interest rates, it may be a lender who has a deal that might make sense for you to early renew today than wait for the next 2 years. But we're seeing stuff from lenders there's hundreds of lenders across there. And Ted can attest to this. Ted has been around for almost 20 years now. I remember when he first started. So shout out to Ted. I have a lot of admiration for him. So there's tons of lenders out there. So you want to sit down, see what's happening. And then there's also lifestyle changes. If you're a young couple, meaning you're in your early 30s, when you bought a home, you had no children, or you were just pregnant, 3 months pregnant. Now, a year and a half in, you've got this 2-year-old child that's now childcare. So when you came to us originally to buy the home, there was no childcare expense. But now I don't know what childcare costs in Ontario. Ryan, you can better advise me. I've never paid childcare in my life, but let's say $600 a month. That's a $600 a month debt that you didn't have when you bought your home. So you're going from a lower rate to a higher rate with a $600 a month child expense. You may have been forced to buy a second car because you're now living out in the suburbs. You moved to Innisfil, you moved out to Kitchener, you moved out to Durham. You're no longer in a transit accessible neighborhood. So you're now forced to buy a second car. You need to buy a small car. It's a $300-$400 a month payment, plus there's insurance and maintenance. It's going to cost you $600-$700 a month. So by having this conversation with a more professional, we can now look at all of your monthly household expenses and determine how to navigate the mortgage landscape for you to make your life easy. Because you don't want to spend your entire day and night worrying about better rates or 4% or 7%. Like you're doing what you do, right? Dr. Vibe is doing his Dr. Vibe show. You run an ACBN and your other businesses. You don't want to spend your life worrying about better rates up or down. It's not something you want to do. So we check in occasionally. A quick email, a quick phone call. You scan the information, send it across your mortgage. We do a quick, analysis of the information and tell you within 24 hours, no, you're good, Ryan. You can handle this, but don't incur any more debt. Because the big thing of a lot of African and Caribbean buyers is not the mortgage payment, it's the debt. The credit card debt and the car loans. That's the big killer. The mortgage is something to you. As I said to you, the average mortgage payment is going to be probably a $4,000 mortgage. Between $400 to $600 will be your mortgage payment increase. If it goes up significantly more than that, it means that your circumstances have changed significantly in terms of your credit score declining, and you have to move from the prime space into the alt space. And if you're self-employed and you have had a bad year and your reported income to the CRA has dropped, then you might not qualify with your prime lend anymore. You've got to go into an alternative lending space, and it will change your mortgage product. But let's get back to clients in crisis. If you're in a crisis, you renew your mortgage, you can't manage the payment. If you have a high ratio insured mortgage with default insurance, and that's a mortgage that's insured less than a 20% down payment by either SAGN, CMHC, or Essential Guarantee. These insurers have programs in place to help you alleviate mortgage stress. Many of the lenders don't know about them, the major banks I'm referring to. Most mortgage professionals know about them. Any good mortgage advisor advise you on how to navigate mortgage crisis with an insured mortgage. And they will defer payments for a few months. They will change your mortgage to interest payments only, because the mandate of insured mortgages is to help young Canadians to buy their first home. So the CMHC program will help you buy with 5% down or a bit more if it's more than $500,000. But it will also help you to keep your home if you run into a problem. And that's not only for interest rate increases. That's if there's a death in your family, you've got a major health crisis, somebody has a terminal illness, or even job loss. It's important to understand that there are alternatives. So turn the TV off, ignore the 6 o'clock news and CBC with all the doom and gloom news.
Yes,
Speak to
yes.
someone, because everyone's circumstances are different. Like I see a lot of stuff on social media, and I stopped listening to it because I don't want to consume myself with all the negative news. So you want to look at your situation. And if you don't have a household budget, start doing it now. You can't live your life without a budget. I ask clients, like, what's your car payment? Oh, I can't remember. I know
Right.
every single month dollar I spend every month, don't what I spend on razor blades to shave my face every day. Like, I'm anal with how I spend my money. My spending doesn't change from one month to the next. It's the exact same figure plus or minus a few cents. Right? If it goes up in price a little bit, I'm gonna use the blade a few days longer. You know what I mean? But I'm not buying an extra pack. So you have to be very diligent today with your money because it's not falling to the sky. So if you're gonna come into us with no budget, then you are doomed to fail. And if you're working with a financial advisor and you're building your RSP and your investment portfolio, your financial advisor and your mortgage advisor should be collaborating in conversation, because you can build wealth with your financial advisor and has significant debt, because your mortgage is a big debt. $300,000 mortgage, $400,000 mortgage. The conversation has to include your mortgage planning, particularly in this environment where rates are no longer at 2%. So should you forego some of your RP contribution to manage your debt payment? Should you look at doing an equity takeout to pay your mortgage? Should you borrow money from your insurance policy to pay so there's a lot of alternatives you have. So if the advisor doesn't know what your debt situation, your credit score is, they can build your wealth situation properly. Because if you bought out for $200,000 10 years ago, and today you owe $500,000 against it, but you've got $400,000 in your RSP, right? Your net worth is negative because your debt is more than your assets. So even if you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, what is that net worth table saying? Is it in the red or the black? Right. So the constants have rated. I've worked there for 20 plus years. We know the whole story. If the client owns a business, we get the action returns, both corporate and personal. We get the corporate and business assessments. Do they own a GST or HST? Because we have to know these things in order to advise the client properly.
Yeah, valid.
All right. Some comments here from Ted. Ted's all in this morning. Ray, I love your advice. A new homeowner is now using your credit to purchase furniture, car, etc. Yes, Ray, a refinance may be a better idea to once again increase cash flow. Great advice, Ray. And then he also says, then you take the savings to invest in income protection, emergency funds, and retirement planning. And he finally says, yes, fake news. Turn it off. LOL.
All right. Yes, yes. So I was curious, Ray, your thoughts on the new mortgage gurus that pop up and now are giving advice, and have only been in the business maybe a couple years or less than 5 years. How do we navigate like falling into the trap of listening to that instead of going to get more experienced people to work with?
Well, are they online or are you going into their office? How are you meeting these people?
Sometimes it's both. Like, we'll see the new ones online, but we'll also bump into mortgage professionals that have now just got their license, and it's like, oh, now I'm a mortgage agent and I would love to help you. And you're like, okay, because sometimes it's somebody that you know.
As a professional, any professional you want to interview them. I mean, if you're more professional as a former banker, that's different. Or you're more professional came from an investment company. Like, let's say Wayne, for example, Wayne Harris. I mean, Wayne Harris is an amazing financial advisor. If Wayne navigates into the mortgage business, he understands money. That's different. But if money used to be working at Best Buy 2 days ago, now they're a mortgage advisor. Like, why would you entrust your $500,000 mortgage and your family's financial security with somebody who talks a good game? Because what is happening today with, like, I'm an immigrant, right? I've been here for 20 years. I got a messed up accent. I'm not the most eloquent speaker. So, but I know my shit, right?
Right.
So a lot of times we are caught up in how the way people speak, their voice into, all that stuff, like the TV voices, and we can get caught up with a lot of with delivery as opposed to content, right? And in today's environment, there's a lot of great delivery, but little content. People are repeating stuff they heard. Like the big thing today is bond yields. Look, bond yields are going this way. The average person doesn't know what a bond is. So I want this. This is not an econs class. I'm going to discuss with you bond yields and the bond and the yield curve. Now, I don't know what the yield curve is, but it doesn't matter to you. All you want to know, what's my monthly mortgage payment, right? And I don't tell people I think rates are going to be this way for 10 years. I don't know. What I can do is give you information to move forward based on a current set of variables today. If we're going to project what rates are going to be a year from now, we'd all be in a great position, right? So, I mean, I think interviewing those people is very important. Asking very good questions. Ask them if they have a mentor. Like, who's your mentor? Do you work by yourself? Are you part of a bigger team? I mean, my son's been in the business now 8 years. And I mean, he still comes to me for advice. He does some interesting transactions. He's in the different space than a lot of young brokers because of the client base we have. And if he's doing a commercial mortgage in an apartment building, he would say, Daddy, are you available? If I'm not in the country, I'll come in by Zoom. If I'm in the country, I'll come into the office and I'll meet with the client with him. I mean, he runs the show, and I will give my insight as necessary so that if he stumbles, I hold him up. But if you were a young agent in this industry, 6 months to a year in, and you have been properly mentored, particularly in this environment, be very, very careful, because, the thing about giving financial advice, and that's not accurate or correct, is that, excuse me, people can sue you, right? You can sue you have wrong advice, right? But you lose their home or something. I mean, you put them the wrong mortgage product, and you can't explain why you did it. I mean, the financial bodies will come after you, and the client has the ability to sue you because of your gross negligence. But I mean, we've got a couple great guys out there. I mean, Ted's on the call this morning. There's Andre Dawkins, who is an amazing individual, very, very insightful. Our office is here. I mean, Stefan knows quite a bit of stuff. I mean, he doesn't know, I can always help him with a lot of the answers. So and if the information doesn't sound, get a second opinion, right? I mean, when you go to test drive, when you go to buy a car, you test drive 2 or 3 cars. Right?
Yes.
Why aren't you getting a second opinion? You go to the doctor, what he says it's sound right, you get a second opinion, right?
Yes,
Absolutely.
So get a second opinion. I mean, this is the biggest debt you have in your life. So you've got to sit down with individuals and, find out how they can help you get from point A to point B.
Yeah. So we got some comments here. Charmaine, First Lady of ACBN, we got great advice, very informative. 100%. Christopher says 100%. He is preaching. No, he's sharing.
Yes.
And Samuel is saying, I'm listening to you right now. Well, you should go back and listen to all his appearances, by the way, not just right now. Wayne Harris, an apprentice should always be mentored by a master. If that's the case, you're in good hands with a rookie.
Okay.
And Christopher says, fire. All right, good stuff. Ryan, you seem to have a lot of questions, so keep on going. Ray's here.
That was my main one, because I know being in this situation of looking at, you keep hearing about the interest rates and seeing and hearing others' horror stories about them trying to renew and then getting stuck and having their properties put up for sale. You don't want to get into that trap. So just soaking in the advice to see like how to stay away from those bad experiences with mortgage renewals.
Well, what has happened also in the last year is that both fixed rates and prime rate mortgages have increased at the same time. This is a very uncommon phenomenon. Usually one goes up, one goes down. This is the second time in my 25 years I've seen both go up at the same time. And the last time it was around the same rate. It was around the same 5-6%, right? So if you are young in the industry and you haven't done the research, you haven't gone back and looked at the historical data, house prices, market corrections, interest rates, And it's difficult for you to advise somebody properly today. So, I mean, as I said, I've got 25 years of data in my office. And when Stefan sees something, I go back and pull out a binder and say, listen, in 2003, rates were this, house prices were that. You know, like, for example, I was sharing with him a few days ago. 7 years ago, you can get a 40-year amortization, a high ratio insured mortgage, 40 years, right? Today's 25 years. Also, you can refinance your home, all the equity up to 95% loan to value. That means you could borrow 95% of your property's value with no problem. I did it several times to leverage buy other properties as an investor. But I knew what I was doing. Today, that has changed, right? They pulled back what you can buy on rent. You could have bought a rental property 5% down 15 years ago with no problem. So there's been many changes over the years that have blindsided many people. I mean, I got blindsided in 2008 on a transaction. All we have today is an interest rate change. It's not a big deal, guys. It is navigated. What if they decide to pull back the loan to value ratios from 8% in the refinance down to 65%? Then we have a real problem.
Okay.
That happened 15 years ago. They went from 90, they put the loan to value back in the refinance, so you couldn't refinance more than 20% of your appraised value or market value. So be very careful with the noise. You have to look at the historical perspective. We all are going to survive it. The thing is cash flow. Ted mentioned about people bought new homes. If you bought a new home 2 or 3 years ago, and the rates have now gone up, your pre-approval doesn't make any sense anymore. You have to now reapprove you. But that property is also gone up in value by probably $150,000. So you have equity. So you have options. Once you have equity, you have options, right? So you may not qualify for that sweet big 5 bank mortgage anymore, right? But you can still close your deal. You can go to an alt lender and get an interest-only mortgage and close your deal. Or you go to privately. And the private lender, they will finance it based on the current value and the purchase price. So if you bought for $650 and it's currently worth $805, they're going to finance you your current appraisal, right? So you may end up coming out ahead of the game because you're not going to take some of the cash out. And if your monthly cash flow is in the negative, you can use equity of your home to pay your mortgage temporarily and things revert to normal. Or you decide to sell the house if you're planning to flip it, right? So you may make less profit if you were going to flip it. And if you weren't planning to flip it, you're planning to keep it for yourself, you can use the equity to pay your mortgage. No, it's not an ideal situation, excuse me, but it's a way to keep your home while things are a little uncertain. And that's what people have to do. You have to start being unorthodox in your approach to mortgage financing. And the big 5 banks can't do that for you. They only have one product, which is theirs, and they have very few options. And if your credit score is 620, 595, or your credit is that, then they can assist you. So you have to call a more professional and let them give you the options. And the options aren't always great. And as I said earlier, many have this love affair with their banks. They're scared to leave. They want a bank. People call us. I want a TD mortgage. Like, you don't qualify for a TD mortgage. But there's a lender out here who has very similar rates at TD Bank that you qualify with. And they ask questions like, how long has this bank been around? You know, are they a strong institution? And I'm thinking, why do you care? You're not lending them money, they're lending you money. I don't think
exactly.
Tomorrow, I don't really care. You know what I mean? But the questions are so ludicrous, I don't understand it. They're going and Googling these lenders to see who they are and how long they've been in business. Like, why is this important to you? They're lending you money. Right? So the mindset has to change when it comes to borrowing money, mortgage financing, and navigating a mortgage crisis. It has to change. And you've got to get the advice. You've got to go and sit down with someone who understands the process, who can look at your situation, ask you the hard questions about your budget and your cash flow, and then give you the advice. Because, for example, many of us from the Caribbean and Africa who are helping relatives back home, right? So you're making $200,000 a year. You were sending $1,000 a month back to your grandmother or your great aunt or someone who raised you. That is not something that is common in many other immigrant communities today, right? Perhaps the Filipino community and some Eastern communities. But many of us from the Caribbean and Africa, we are helping. We may have children back home that we're helping. So I will ask those questions. Do you have anybody else? You're making $100,000 a year, but you have an obligation that doesn't appear in your credit report that you have to meet every single month. And that's where the experience comes in. So if you were born in Canada and grew up here, that's not your reality, right? You don't understand that whole thing about sending money back to my grandmother or helping to repair the house back in Barbados or Trinidad or Jamaica, wherever you're from, in Ghana. So by having and that's how I coach my son. So he, as much as he is very Canadian, he has an immigrant mindset, the mortgage consultant, because he's heard the questions I have asked while I mentored him. He said, "That's why you asked him." I'd ask question, how was your marriage?
Okay.
Because, I mean, you can be the brink of a divorce or separation, and, the one spouse stays on in the marriage so you get qualified, but then that person leaves you 2 months later, and you're out of the house. No, they're still giving you child support and alimony, but if they're paying a rent or mortgage someplace else, that alimony may not be a guaranteed payment every single month, right? So you ask the questions, and the clients were here the last time, they're very emotional couple, so they had these miniature arguments in between. So I asked them, so how's your marriage, guys? They said, "Oh, we have a great marriage. We just, like fight with each other." That's okay. That's cool. Because I mean, the $600,000 debt, their income has dropped over the last 2 years.
Yes.
But you ask the question. So a younger person who has had life experiences, a younger, more professional you don't understand how to speak to a client and get them to tell you stuff.
Yeah.
There are people who have children with disabilities, adult children with disabilities. Many in our community have adult children who are going to be dependent on them all their life.
Okay, right.
You ask them, how many kids do you have? How old are they? Do they still live with you? Because you can tell whether a child has a disability, an adult child, based on the kind of job they have, if they still live at home. Right? If you're intelligent, you can figure it out. So if you got a 26-year-old son who has a job making $8 an hour, whatever the minimum wage is today, right? Most likely that person has either a physical disability or a learning disability. And there's a very high probability that parent has to cater for that person for the rest of their life.
Yes.
That affects your mortgage making decisions. But if you don't ask those questions, they're never going to tell you. And I've had those experiences with clients who had adult children with mental disabilities. I met a young man one day. He came in here, and I looked at the guy sign his name. It took him like 5 minutes to sign his name. Now he looked very, very normal. And you look at him, and he converses very fluidly, but it took him almost 5 minutes to sign his name. And that's when I realized this guy has very limited capacity. Right? So, but it's best for us to work within our own circle than going beyond. And client advice differs significantly based on culture. If the guys in this called work in the financial service space, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to test what I'm saying. You move from one culture to the next, and money's a very different thing in different cultures.
Okay. All right. We've got some questions for you, Ray. But first, a comment from Verna G. She says we should remember how to reduce spending on monthly bills with knowledge of conserving our use of electricity, water, and gas. And then Wayne asks, upon mortgage renewals, is it possible to change lenders while avoiding the stress test?
Is there another question? Answer Wayne right now.
Oh, so did you see Wayne's question?
Yeah. Wayne, there is. It's called a switch. So if you switch from one lender to the other maturity, without changing your amortization or changing your mortgage amount, yes, you can. Right? So you switch from, let's say, Bank of Montreal to TD Bank or First National to MCAP. The ones there's no change in the amortization and no change to the mortgage amount, there's no challenge. There's no problem doing that. However, if the mortgage amount changes or the amortization changes, it's no longer a switch. It's no refinance. So you will be stress tested at that point. Right? So
Okay.
it's, if you have to refinance it, then you have to do the stress test and pay all the legal fees. And usually when you do a switch, there's no legal fees involved. There's no appraisal costs. There's no legal fees or anything. But all the lenders want to build their portfolio of quality business, right? So you got a high quality client, they switch to a new lender. They roll the red carpet for you.
Okay. All right. So Ted has a comment here. Wayne, if the mortgage was insured and purchased prior to October 2016, you can still qualify at contract rate. Ray, please confirm if this is correct if you haven't answered this question yet. Thanks.
That is also very correct also, Ted. Yes. And that is also true. So there's contract rate and the stress test rate. So your contract rate is usually 2 or 3% below the stress test rate, right? So it means that it's easy to qualify if you qualify at contract rate. But add on to what Ted just said, credit unions qualify you in contract rate, even in a refinance if it's conventional. So that's where it comes to access to information, access to lenders. So if you move away from the big 5 banks and work with more professional, the scope of lenders that we work with and products that are available can make your life a lot easier. You just have that half-hour conversation. And it's a free conversation. It doesn't cost you anything. We telephone, Zoom, or in person. It's entirely your decision how you want to do it.
Okay. And Wayne says, thank you, Ray, for your answer. And Ted says, you can refinance too if the property was purchased before October 2016.
Gotcha.
That is correct.
Excellent.
I'm glad that Ted in the conversation. We keep each other sharp. Iron sharpen iron. So Ted, thanks for your input. I really appreciate it. I'm not actively involved in the mortgage space anymore. I focus on many other things. So, I appreciate you giving the insight and sharing the exact dates, because it's important to understand the dates when certain things change, right? So to have someone who can actually drop that date in the chat very, very quickly is, I really appreciate the comment. Thanks, Ted.
All right. Well, I think that is it for today.
We appreciate you.
Thank you for fighting through all the technical challenges, Ray, today.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man, it's better in the Caribbean, guy.
Wow.
We had on a sidebar conversation. I'm not a tech guy, so probably the tech guys can understand this, right? That is an interesting company, right? In my approach to business, I call my existing clients very often, because the best customer is an existing customer.
Right.
They don't call their existing customer for any reason, right? They only call new customers, excuse me, trying to get new business. So I've been a better customer for 25 years. Our internet is probably the slowest in the world in my office. It's like 10 megabytes of download per second. I don't know what that means. So Steph called Bell on Tuesday, and he was advised that the current download availability in my area is like 100 times more than that. So why won't these fools call me and upgrade me?
Yes, exactly.
I've been a customer with you for the last 20. Like, call me and I don't know what download speeds are. I'm just working every day doing it. I mean, like, come on, guys.
Right.
So I'm here struggling, can't get online, can't get on StreamYard. Meanwhile, my service is severely lacking. Like, just give me a phone call. And
True.
the important thing is that it will cost a lot more. It's not like I'm going from a $200 bill to a $400 a month bill. It's like $20 more a month.
That's it.
Right.
So just give me a shout and say, listen, Mr.
Big difference.
McMillan, your neighborhood has new. The whole building is like in like 1992. The whole building I'm in.
Wow.
Everybody's complaining. They haven't upgraded the building. Like, just do it for us, man. So
No problem. Hey,
I remember
Ray,
a few years ago, they called me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Wayne has one more question. Are you okay for another question?
Definitely. Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So Wayne has a question here. When does it ever make sense not to use a mortgage agent? Do you lose advertised incentives from the lenders when you use a mortgage agent?
Okay.
I'm a former bank employee. So I came from the bank. And when I worked for the bank, I wasn't very fond of mortgage agents. So I was on both sides of that equation. Banks have several incentives. So, however, you have to decide which side of the fence you are on in terms of being a bank client. So if you've got, a couple $100,000 in your RSP, you guys are where it is. You've got an investment portfolio. You're a stock investor. You've got a very high credit score. You've got a very good income. You're a professional. The bank will roll out the red carpet for you. So, like most of the banks have special banking programs for doctors. So you can be a doctor making a lot of money, but the bank will give you a $2 million mortgage because they are basing their relationship with you on your long-term growth. So if you were trying to do a mortgage for a young doctor today, they walk into their bank and there's one bank they can walk up in 5 minutes with no questions asked. You can get them $1 million to borrow, right? So there are certain times when it makes sense. Back in the day, I think Bank of Montreal used to offer air mile mortgages, right, through one of the realtor companies. It was Century 21, if I'm correct. So if you did a Century 21 realtor, and you go into Bank of Montreal, you buy a house to this realtor, you get like 1 million air miles. You can fly around the world with that kind of stuff. And some of those programs weren't available in the mortgage broker landscape. Right. CIBC was very similar to their first line mortgage program. So there are times when it made sense. And then there were some lenders who came out of the mortgage broker landscape. So, you had no choice. One of the best lenders to work with as a mortgage professional is TD Bank. Because with TD Bank, what happens? You now domicile your mortgage with a particular branch. So, like for me, my mortgage was domiciled in my branch, so they knew who I was. If I called a TD mortgage, they got that business. So we started had a very collaborative arrangement between us. So they took care of my clients, and then, if they were not pre-qualified, the client send an email. They pre-qualify the client for a travel gold card or travel visa. So as a more professional, depends on the bank you're with, it makes sense to let them know who you are if you're doing a fair amount of business at a particular bank. We did a lot of business with TD Bank when I was very, very active. But the second part, that's that question. If you plan to buy multiple properties, if you were buying your first home, your intention is now buy a second property, buy a triplex, invest in condominiums, that sort of stuff. You want to work with a mortgage professional because they know the backstory. Because one of the downsides to working with major banks is that the advisors move very frequently. Either they move to another branch or to another position in the bank. So when you go back to that person, they don't know the backstory about it. You're always starting from zero. But I mean, it all depends on the individual. I mean, some folks safer come to work in the bank, and a lot of people have a physical office. I've bought in an office. I don't meet clients in coffee shops and kitchen tables. So I think when clients come into our office, there was a sense of security because the environment felt very bank-like. So there was not that mistrust for us as individuals. I mean, you can walk in any time. You didn't have to call me to an appointment to see us. There was a physical space where we looked at. The bank is still a bricks and mortar establishment, the bricks and mortar and the sign in front. And that makes a lot of folks very comfortable, including myself. I'm a bank customer, right? I go to my bank very often. I do all my transactions in bank. I go to my bank machine in the branch and take my cash. I go into the teller and deposit money because I'm old school, right? So it depends on the age of your client base about different comfort levels or what their experience was in their home. Because my kids go into the bank also because that's what they saw me do.
Solid.
Well, thank you, Ray, for taking the
But
time.
at the same time,
no, go ahead. No, go ahead, Ray.
But at the same time, if somebody has a financial advisor, an insurance advisor, an accountant that they work with, I recommend they also find a mortgage advisor to work with. If they plan to scale up and build wealth through buying real estate and other assets. I mean, it just makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, I've got a very good client friend of mine who was an accountant. He was actually my mentor for years. I'm a self-directed investor kind of person because I came from that environment. So I've never really worked with a financial advisor because I myself at one point was a financial advisor. But I still consult with a colleague of mine who's got tons of years experience to understand. There's a lot of new products and stuff out there. So I get his insight. But it's very important to put together that team, because if you have that team, then what's happening today is not going to stress you out, because you've got your assets well taken, well managed, you've got good conversation. This is not going to bother. It's a blip. It may last 3 years. It may last 8 months. Nobody knows, right? But I mean, once you have the team around you, can reassure you, you're able to navigate with no problem.
All right. So some final comments here. Ted says, yes, I work 100% by referrals for the past 20 years, but in this market, I'm trying to get fresh water in my pond right now. Or in my pond now. Prospecting is number one now. He also says, thank you guys. Great conversation. Iron sharpen iron. And Wayne says, great conversation as always. Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Ray. Always appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Have a good day.
I do apologize for all the technical stuff. And I'm trying to.
Get Bell to update the stuff.
Yeah, Steph will call them on Monday.
That fiber optic cable.
Yeah, man.
All
right. Crazy, man.
All right. We're going to let you go. All right. Oh, we are feeling for Ray. And he is right. When he's in the Caribbean, his internet's better.
That's wild. Oh, man.
Than at his home. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And Fitness IQ Cam says, amazing conversation. Thank you, Fitness IQ Cam. So what's up for the weekend?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, on Sunday, we're going to the Holiday Hope event with Keep Wealth Melanated. They have a store at the Woodbine Mall, but they're doing an event at the JCA. So at Arrow Road, the Jamaican Canadian Association. So ACBN will have a booth there. And looking forward to seeing Kente Claus and enjoying the pop-up vendors. Wow. How about yourself? How's the weekend looking?
It's just weird that the holiday season is coming up. It's just like the years went so fast. It's like it's the end of the year already.
Yes.
Oh,
right there.
That's crazy. So this weekend, so primetime Saturdays, tomorrow night, live at 9 p.m. with Aisha K. Staggers and Laura Lala Key. I believe we're going to be doing a Black Canada Talking on Sunday with Cesar. So that's coming. Also for people, if you do follow the Dr. Vibe show, had conversations this week with the executive director from the NIA Arts Center. So you can go check that out.
Oh, and I was able to go for one of the tours at the NIA Center on Monday.
How is it?
It's excellently done. So definitely looking forward to seeing more events. And I think in the new year, they're going to start allowing people to rent it out. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that she said during the conversation, like, how can we be of positive value? And she said, book a tour. She said, book a tour for the So I have to reach out to her because I said, okay, if I'm doing a tour, you're going to give me the tour. She said, okay.
And I think they have an event on November 30th, like a mini grand opening happening. I saw it on Eventbrite, so people can check that out too.
Yeah. Oh, and yes, Tim Frey, I saw this in my timeline. Yeah, this weekend's Toronto Soul Music Festival is canceled for those who don't know.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah, so if you had tickets for that event, follow Ian Andre Espinay on Instagram. I think I saw a post that he put last night in regards to it being canceled and the refund ticket policy. What else? Tomorrow afternoon, I'm a member of a group called the Champion You community that's led by Danny Stone. We're having a get together with some people and providing some clarity and some solutions. And that's one thing that I like what Ray said today. Many things, but he sells solutions.
Right.
right? Because the people that come to him have problems
Mm.
with their mortgage, but he sells solutions to their problems. And I think we have to get in that mindset that if you have a product, business, or service, you're not selling that product, business, or service. You're selling solutions.
Mm.
Think
Absolutely. But
about, go ahead.
speaking of canceled, sorry to switch gears, Bad Boy Furniture is going out of business.
Yes, it's
So
yes.
if you put money down on some furniture, you are losing your deposit. So I guess their new
Wow.
tagline is, if you want your money back, no.
Buddy. And for those who may not know, Bad Boy Furniture has been a Toronto institution
Staple.
for about over 60, almost 70 years.
Yeah.
And they announced that
Former
going out of-
mayor Mel Lastman is like,
Mel Lastman, yeah, he
Yeah.
I don't know if he found it or was it his father. It was a family,
Right.
true family business going out of business. And the funny thing too is, in the last year, they just built a new warehouse in the Durham region.
oh wow, okay. So
Yeah.
I saw that they're trying to work things out. So I don't think they're like fully insolvent and going bankrupt, but yeah, right now they are in the proceedings, so people aren't able to get their money back yet. I hope.
Well, and it's interesting too. It's be an interesting business case study because they were saying that because of the housing market changes, that affected their business. And a thing I didn't get a chance to talk to Ray about, it's happening in Toronto where people are putting sizable deposits on homes that are not built yet that are walking away from that deposit.
Holy moly.
They're I was reading some people like $200,000 deposits, they're walking away because they can't afford it because of so we didn't get to that, but it is happening. Tim Freyes, the official Vibe Box Restaurant Week starts Monday. So people make sure you catch
our journey. Yes.
So so the official launch is on Monday, and I've been invited to that, so I'm looking forward to that. And actually, at LA's movie launch, I ran into Edible Bliss. What's her name? Amanda. Yes, I ran into her. We had
does the most amazing rum cake cheesecake.
Which you can't have anymore, thank you. Or
I'm going to talk to Carolyn about that. That didn't come up, so I gotta check.
Let me put it this way: you shouldn't have anymore. Not that you can't. You shouldn't.
My cheat day.
Shouldn't have that. So, so we're just shutting it down here. So again, you can watch replays of the Morning Vibe on YouTube, Facebook. That's the Dr. Vibe Show on the Afro Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan O'Neill Knight, LinkedIn and YouTube. Some few other takeaways this morning. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. And also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Also, wherever Ryan's posting.
And just before you leave, hit that like button.
Yes.
Algorithm.
Yes. And to advertise your business, product, or service, please email Dr. Vibe at thedrvibeshow.com. And I see in the next few weeks, we have another announcement coming up about the Morning Vibe, which you will probably find. It's a good thing. And it involves myself and Ryan. I'll just leave it at that. He doesn't even know about that. He doesn't know about it yet. But I've been working in the background. And join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Please email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. What else is going on this weekend? Oh, I have a new member of the team that's going to be doing some audio video editing. And so one of the goals is to start seeing more Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts from some of our conversations. And actually had and we're working on a few things, but just out of curiosity, people, do you think it'd be of value having audio only versions of the Morning Vibe? Would you listen to audio only versions? Because I had a conversation this week with a regular listener or watcher, and she said, you should put these up in, make them available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that. Gotcha. So out of curiosity, and you can put comments either here or wherever you're watching. I'd be very interested. I'm going to ask, on the next upcoming programs, would you listen to these on audio rather than video? Mm-hmm. Or would you like to have the option of both? You know, the option of both. And also, too, can't forget Monday, Manifa Brooks, co-founder and principal of Garabyte Consulting, works with companies to build programs and processes that protect personal data. I would highly suggest you come to that show because I want, and if no one has questions at that show, I'm going to wonder. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, you definitely want to have that data privacy thing down. Okay, there's quick responses here. So good. I'm getting. I would listen to.
Have to run. So
yeah, you got your minute. We'll
yes,
chat.
yes.
No problem. We'll see you.
Right.
So Ted says I would listen to audio versions while working out, driving. I use Spotify. Okay, thank you for that feedback. Okay, I would listen to audio only versions. I actually most times I listen as opposed to look. Okay, all right. So good. Getting that feedback. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And LinkedIn user, I'm excited to join you on Monday. So something tells me that is Manifa that's watching. So yes, looking forward to it, Manifa. We're excited to have you. All right. I think we're done. So everyone, as always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourselves grace. And don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Thanks, everyone, for another epic conversation on the Morning Vibe. I have one more comment here. Let's see. LOL, yes. So I think that's probably Manifa. Yeah, it is Manifa. All right. Because, okay, what else? Ted's got a comment. Have a great week. Well, we're going to have a great weekend. Then on Monday, we are back with Manifa Brooks. So speaking that everyone's got a lot of questions about data privacy on Monday. All right. So that's it. God bless. Peace to well. Keep the faith. Walk good. And again, remember to give yourselves grace.